graphic that I kind of saw from someone else. What we see as our institution, how we kind of view our institution. We've got our faculty and instruction that happens, big part of our institution. We've got student services, a lot of good activities going on at Dalton State. We've got some special programs that people are involved in. We're all involved in our own areas. All right? So we kind of see it that way. We do what we do, we stay in our lane, and that's the way we work. Okay, I think it's a very, very common way to address. But this is what the student sees. The student here comes in contact with just different people throughout their day when they're on the campus. They see everybody equal. They see the instructor that they have in the class. They may see their academic advisor. They may appreciate that peer tutor who took some time to help them understand those math problems. The cafeteria worker who just says, have a good day each time when they check out for their lunch meal. That woman in financial aid, and that's usually the way the poor people in that building get referred to. That woman, that lady, she told me, okay, to the student, that lady doesn't have a name, but yet that person had a big impact. And the student sees all of these together. We all come in contact with students in different ways, but we all play a role from the student's perspective in how they feel about Dalton State and what their success will be here at Dalton State. So that's kind of what I want to talk about, is how we can look at ourselves from this view, no matter what our contact is. We all have different roles with our students, so what are some of the things we can do as that plays to the initiative? So no matter what our job or title is, we have an interaction with students. How can we help them reach their goals? Sometimes that's just helping them create some goals. For a lot of students I've dealt with, especially the freshmen this summer, the goal they had was to get admitted to Dalton State. Okay, well, you accomplished it. Check it off the box. Let's make a new goal then, okay? What's the next goal we're going to have? And they haven't even really thought that far yet. They really haven't gotten that far in their planning. It may be that they never even made a plan. Someone else filled out that application form, and they just came where Mama told them to this morning with this stack of papers. They haven't even thought about where they want to go. So it's helping them reach some goals, but in doing that, we may have to help them create some goals. But I think we all have an important role in student success. Yeah, I don't think you work in higher education, whatever your role is, if you don't care about students and want to see them succeed. So I think we all do that innately, feel that way, but let's think of some ways we can do it. So the momentum year itself, the initiative has 3 elements to it: purpose, program of study, and engagement. So those are the 3 components that I'm going to kind of be talking about in relationship to us. So the first one is purpose. The goal is that all students make a purposeful choice of what they want to study while they're in college. On Dalton State, if you click on if you go to the application, it forces you to pick a major. Students tend to just pick the first thing they see. Is it some class they've heard of before? Maybe they know a nurse, so they just pick nursing. They haven't really even thought about what that means to be a nurse. We had a student pick biology, so we're showing them the program of study for biology. Oh, I don't want to take all those biology classes. Okay, well then you probably don't want to be a biology major, so they haven't given a lot of thought to it. So helping them be more purposeful. Now we don't have a whole lot of contact with students until they get to our campus. So what can we do? We're going to we've created these focus areas that reflect our different majors. We've chosen 6 different focus areas here at Dalton State. So when they initially go to that page that says majors and programs, it's going to give them these 6 focus areas. Hopefully getting them to, I don't know if these are the exact pictures marketing will choose, but we have our humanities and communications, education, business, health professions, science, technology, math, and social sciences and history. Once they pick an area, it will describe that area, maybe careers within that area that they can pursue, and then the majors that fall into that area. When they then pick a major out of that list, first thing's going to pop up is a description of that major and some possible careers that go with that major. See if we can get them to think about this path that they're choosing while they're here. Make a purposeful choice. Students cannot be undeclared and receive financial aid. Okay? So we force them. Our system forces it. You used to the mindset in higher education was go to college, explore all those different classes, get that general education, try things that you like. We're now retracting that. What was happening is the students were getting it, they were loving college. Yeah, it was becoming the best 6 and 7 years of their lives, not just 4. Okay? Unfortunately, it's an expensive time. So they were taking out loans, they were getting further into debt, then they weren't graduating, therefore not getting jobs that were going to help them with that debt. And the cycle got was getting a little lopsided. So the federal government has now said all students who receive financial aid, which is most of our students, must be on a career path, a program or study path. All right? We want that to be a purposeful one within our abilities. We know they're going to change majors, but we want to try to add as much consistency within our paths as we can to give them a semester or two once they get here to do that exploring and not get behind. Our students on average graduate with about 150 credits. All right, they get a bachelor's degree. Our degrees are only 120, so that's a whole year's worth of credits that they've got that they wasted. Now maybe they learned something, so maybe it's not a total waste, but it didn't get them closer to the degree. They could have gotten that out a year earlier, less money they would have paid, less money they could have been earning, less money they could have been earning in that year.
So this is going to be embedded in the online application, or
My desire is yes. I don't know that our application process is going to be. It will definitely be on the website as far as when you click on the majors and programs on our website.
okay, so it'll also be available to people who are reevaluating their first choice.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So hopefully, as faculty members, you may run into that student. Okay, I'm that one that didn't like that biology. I don't know what to choose from. And you're going, okay, I don't know what we offer. I mean, you can use this. This will be a tool that I think we can all use as we interact with students who maybe are looking for a different choice. Maybe you don't know what we really offer, but you can click on it and you can help them read through it. You can kind of give them some places to jump off at that point. What we did do in the spring, just to let you know, is we did put undeclared back on as a temporary option on their application. We had about 50 different people that marked that. So over the course of the summer, I then reached out to those students to try to have another conversation with them prior to them arriving at orientation to try to help them process through all the different choices that we have. So we're kind of going from a mindset of lots of choices to trying to help them lessen those choices so that they can make a good one. It's a work in progress, but that's kind of where we are with it right now. Still got to work on, we've put the pieces together, we still got to get it onto the website. So that's where we are right at this moment with it. So what can you do? As faculty, you're working, especially in your upper level coursework, a lot of our degrees are designed to where you can kind of pick and choose some of those 3,000, 4,000 level courses. Helping students pick the right ones that meet the goals that they have. Does it align with the pathway that they want? Maybe they can help them make a choice because those are the courses that you're teaching and that are a little bit more specific. So maybe you can help them reach that way. Maybe making connections within the classroom. How does what we're learning today connect out to the world? How does it, that academic assignment that I'm giving, does it meet? Where is it connecting? Making those connections for them so that they can see and understand a little bit more how this academic work relates to those personal goals. Maybe it is simply it just checks off the box and you got to have it to graduate because some students just cannot figure out why they need that class. Why do I have to have an area A math class? Please don't make me do that. But you got to have to. Everyone that gets a degree has to have one. But there are other ways to show that connection too, besides the have to. We all use math on some level in our work daily. So we can make those connections with all the things. And as faculty members, you're the ones who know your subjects. You're the ones who are passionate about the subjects you've chosen. So use that passion to help try and spread it down. Another suggestion that might work in your classroom, depending on what kind of classes, is trying to link the career and educational goals with the course assignment so that they can kind of see. If there's some kind of assignment you can do, if there's a way to tweak it in to just include a little bit of a career thought process along with that assignment, I think that would be a great way to help them, again, continue to think about the choice that they've made as what they're going to study. All right, so moving on to program of study. All of our degrees have been approved by the state. So we have requirements for those degrees, and we're going to look a little bit into that. But what we have worked out over the spring and summer, a team that was comprised of an advisor and a faculty member from each of our different schools, so each of those 6 focus areas, we have 5 schools, 6 focus areas, came together as a team, and we have created guided pathways. We're calling them GPS, guided pathways for student success, okay? These are going to be, we're taking that curriculum and we're breaking it down even further because right now it's just a long list of classes you got to take. So we are breaking it down. Semester 1 of your first year, take these classes. Semester 2, take these classes. Semester 3, take these classes. Instead of this trying to get it to be a little consistent across all the different majors, so when they click on one, the format would be the same for all of our programs because right now everybody uses a little bit different program. So try to have some consistency that students are easy to follow. So helping them choose their pathway and then helping them stay on that pathway by creating these clear pathways. Each of the pathways. Again, talk about the careers that are available in those pathways. After each year, there are some milestones that the departments have decided are, maybe it's, at this point, you should be thinking about getting an internship, if that's important to that department. Think about getting involved in this organization at this point. You must have this minimum GPA at this point in order to continue. Some of our programs require a higher standard than the campus standard. So those things will be very clearly mapped out for them, hopefully. All of these are due from the team just last week, so there again, so it's a work in progress, but that's where we are in our Momentum Year project. The Momentum Year is about 90 days in, and we are on track with our 90-day report that I just submitted. So that's where we are with it. So that's what kind of the Guided Pathways Program of Study idea is. So what can you do with it? Encourage that academic involvement. All right, encourage students to get involved, whether this is the club that you are a sponsor of. Help them connect to that organization. Help them, if you've got research that you're working on, or you've got activities that are academic. They may be a real minimal portion of that, but their involvement and contact with you, I think, can help that student. Even office workers within a department can help. Being in that school office, maybe all you're doing is running a copy machine for faculty all day long, but that connection to the school and the department helps students feel a part, helps them learn more. Just being around the environment helps them learn more about what it is. Be creative in some ways, and maybe you can encourage academic involvement. Once we get these pathways up, look at those milestones. Are the students that you're coming in contact with meeting those milestones that we want? Have they made the C in that required beginner class so that they can take all the classes they really want to get to? All right, providing that. Provide regular feedback from within your own classroom. Maybe you don't work with advisees as much, but you all come in contact with students, giving them some feedback on what their performance and progress are doing. Are they meeting those requirements for your class? Helping them have that feedback so that they understand where they are with the class. And then guiding them toward graduation. Ultimately, my goal is really to graduate. Have them graduate with that degree, to fulfill that goal for them. So how can we do that in some details? If you have advisees, all right, if they've been assigned to you, the students know where to find their advisor. All right, so I want you to make sure you know who to find, who's looking for you. All right, so that makes sense. So you can access that through Banner, that's your Roadrunner portal. Advisor faculty menu. All right, the very top one is student information menu. That may not be as intuitive to find your advisee list there, but right underneath it gives a little sheet that says your advisee listing. Advisee listing is right below that. So if you click on student information menu, the next menu that pops up, student information, fourth one down is your advisee listing. All right, you click on that, it opens it up, it gives you a list. You can print that list. You can click on the student's name, ID number there, and it will take you to their record so you can see a little bit more about the advisee students, how different schools are using it. Some of you are the primary advisor for that student. Some of you may be the secondary advisor in more mentoring role. Either way, you're listed in contact with that student and you have a role for them. Just some dates to remember. Registration for spring and summer. We haven't started fall, but here's the date for spring and summer. It begins on October 22nd. All right. So the month of October, those students are going to be looking for you. In my opinion, advising, mentoring happens year-round. Today on the calendar is some kind of registration day. And I said, well, when was it not registration day? I think we've been helping students register every day this summer. So, but keep that date in mind because, again, that is a critical time when students will be looking for their advisor, their mentors, so that they can make their plans for spring and summer. That's the time to start having those conversations. Okay, these are some classes that you want to take, but why are we taking this class? Have you thought about this class? Have you thought about an internship next summer? Have you thought a job, maybe not in fast food, but maybe trying to get one within the realm of what it is you want to do? Have you done some job shadowing? Spring break is a great time to job shadow. So some of those kind of conversations that you can have, again, you got to start having them in October because that's when the students will be looking for you, kind of ebb and flow of our semester. All right, student feedback. A lot of different ways student feedback can do it. You can do it in your classroom as you're getting feedback from them. You may adjust the lecture that you're giving. But one of the critical ways in the semester is submitting realistic midterm grades. Again, the same screen, right down there, midterm grades, submit those grades. And by realistic, I mean, I know when I was teaching, I didn't always have very many grades by the time they wanted midterm grades. My second half of my semester was a little bit heavier grade-wise. So it's hard to feel like it was as realistic, but I was doing the best that I could. The example that I have that has come to me since I've been at Dalton State was a student who at the end of the semester was reported as not attending the class. Okay, that's a problem. We'll talk about that too. But I looked up the student's midterm grade and they had an A at midterm. Well, they haven't attended the class. I'm not sure how they were doing A-level work. So we reached out to the professor and they said, well, I want to be encouraging. Well, from that perspective, okay, I can see where that's encouraging the student that they can make an A. The way that 18-year-old did interpret is, oh, I got an A. I didn't even have to go. That was the easiest class I took. So that's their perspective of it. So what might have been intentionally meant to be good really didn't have a good effect on the student. So I think a more realistic grade will help that student a little bit more. It will help the advisor look at that comes to us as advisors and the professional side of it. The students see those. No, they don't all look at it, but some do. So it gives them a place, and hopefully it gives them some positive encouragement if it's good. If it's not, maybe it will encourage them to try to make it change, because it's not too late at midterm to make that change for the rest of the semester. So I would encourage you, if you will, to submit some midterm grades. The other thing is, if you are working with students that you're very familiar with degree works, until we get those GPS pathways up, the registrar's webpage has a lot of detailed information about degree works. You access it from the same menu. Down near the bottom, DSC Degree Works will take you to their degree plan. This is what the records office will use to determine if a student graduates. All right. So this is the key. We tell students that from orientation. We give them instructions about degree works. We show it to them in orientation, but some embrace that a little bit more than others. So I just type in the student's name. Gives you a lot of information about that student. It will tell you the degree. Sometimes the degree they think they're getting is not even the one that's on their record. So we definitely need to keep that corrected. It gives them an institutional GPA. They must have a 2.0 GPA, institutional GPA, in order to graduate. Some requirements are a little bit more. Some classes are required to have certain grades in them, but institutional GPA must be a 2.0 in order to get a degree. So what does it look like? There's another screenshot from it. List all the classes required from the degree that the system thinks they have, based on the catalog year. The ones that are checked off in green have been completed. The ones that are not checked have not been completed. It's really that easy to interpret, okay? So students can very easily, you can help a student see what is still needed to satisfy that requirement to graduation. Further down the degree audit, if they took classes somewhere else, sometimes those are not automatically transferred in. You can help a student maybe with a substitution if you think that class sounds like it's meeting the basic requirements of the class that we see. In the state of Georgia, a lot of ours are lined up pretty well, but we have students that transfer from other places, especially in Tennessee bordering. We do get students that transfer in from other schools. So kind of, if you can help a student check that, hopefully, we're working with them when they get here, but they still need some help. They say, I am sure I took that English class. Maybe they remember, maybe they don't, but maybe it's that school just called it something a little bit different, and we can substitute it. So we can help them in multiple ways. One of the other things that I think is important when we work with our upperclassmen, here are some of the non-course requirements also. All right, we have some Georgia requirements that all students must meet in order to get a degree because we're in the state of Georgia. I beg to say I probably wouldn't pass some of that because I'm not a Georgia native, but I'm going to learn as I come. But the one down here that is not marked on this application is the one I wanted to point. If a student has submitted a graduation application, the office will let you know. So if a student can't remember, I don't know if I filled out that application or not, all you have to do is pull up the degree works. It'll tell you whether they've submitted it or not. Easy way to check. You don't have to go on their memory. It will tell you in degree works. When do students need to submit? This is something that I think is a little hard for students. We have deadlines for that application. So the next deadline that's going to be coming up is October 30th. That is for a May graduation. together, that was their role model, and they were falling apart. That was affecting them academically. So what looked like similar situations, totally different responses from our care team. One, we really didn't act a whole lot. The other one, we tried to get them involved. Again, we have a member from our counseling services that sits on the team, so it's usually getting them involved. Now, there are emergencies. If it is an emergency, someone is threatening harm to themselves or to others, please call public safety first. Later, you can submit a gear report so that we know about it, but public safety is where you need to go. They will get counseling, or if it's after hours and our counseling center is closed, we are linked to some area hospital care that we can get students to. We have done that. Our public safety is open 24/7.
Yes. I have a question about the care team's work about a submission. Because last semester I consulted with a student and the dean, I submitted a one.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the thing is that when you face-to-face talk to them in an office, yes, that's okay, yes, I need a service, I need some counseling. But the thing is, when students will talk to you, you submit it and that was all good, but then when, I guess for the care system works, one call after another to outreach them, wanted to talk to them, wanted to help them, and then turn around, it became a little bit too much for them. It was like, overwhelming. They were already in situations that were really a little bit overwhelming.
Yeah.
So I think last semester, the student finally rejected, saying, no, I didn't talk to you, I don't have time to talk to you, da. So I guess the care team came back and asked me, did you talk to the student? How is it, da? I said, yes, I'm going to consult with the dean, okay. So in this kind of situation, do we need to kind of restore it? How do we do this? Or once
what
it's
my
submitted,
guess is, and I'm pretty sure, once they confirmed that you had taken care of it, there was not a distress from the student, the case is closed.
So once that, because I remember I was.
Once we reach the point where we feel like there is no distress in the student, the case is closed. Some stay open for years, some are open for 1 month, and the case is still closed.
You don't need to do anything.
No, you don't, no.
Okay.
All right. Another thing that can be important for student engagement is understanding who should be in your classroom by your class roster. Your official class roster is your banner roster. You can print that out today. It will probably change before Monday. All next week it will probably change, so you need to print another one out or at least know where to go. I don't know, some admins maybe help you print those out. There's a class roster, again, same screen that we're working for. If you like it in detail, you can get detailed class lists. It gives you all kinds of information about students. Everybody likes something different, but you can get that detailed classroom. One thing I wanted to point out that is new this fall, if you use Georgia View at all, that roster is now updating on near real time. That has not been the case in the past. Some people assumed it was, and we had faculty that were only using Georgia View, and that wasn't updated, so students were adding and dropping, and it wasn't getting as updated in Georgia View. Now, as with any of our banner systems, sometimes they're not always perfect, but at least knowing that it is updating, I think will help us when you're using those two different rosters. But the banner roster should be a real time, and it should be your official roster. One of the things that I sent out in an email this morning, it came to me from the registrar's office, is reporting attendance. And I just want to emphasize why we report that attendance. It's not for me to give you another task to do. I used to teach in a lecture hall of 80. I did not take attendance every day. That was half my lecture if I did that. But I did at the beginning, that first exam, if the student didn't show up for that first exam, okay, what's going on? So there was some that I followed up. The biggest reason, though, is it's an impact to their financial aid. Another thing the federal government's requiring, and again, it's because of the history. We got really giving with our money, and now they're having to pull it back a little bit. So they have to have a major, and then they have to be attending classes. If they're given money to go to school, they have to attend those classes. Right? So what happens is, if you get to the end and you fail them for not attending, they can lose their financial aid forever. And that's a pretty hard penalty. So what we would like to do is, if they don't come to class in these first 2 weeks, if they have not attended your class by August 21st, is to go ahead and get them off that roll. That way there's no penalty to their financial aid. Okay? Now, if we're in a car wreck next week, there'll be somebody with some emergency like that. I don't want to kind of project that, but there'll be an emergency. If they show up that second week and you're willing to let them in that class, we can easily get them back in that class and get their financial aid. It's easier to straighten it out by adding them late than it is to get way into the semester and the student never having attended, because then it causes a lot of backlog in their financial aid. All right? Government just will not give them money to say they're going to class and then they're not actually attending it. And they just put a really hard penalty on them. So to prevent that, the instructions, Rob gives very detailed instructions on how to report that attendance. Again, we're looking for people who do not attend your class the first week. All right? They register for classes, they paid for classes at this point if they're still on your roster, but they have not shown up. So if you can help us out, we would appreciate it. All right, a few other last things to consider. Submitting your final grades by the deadline, again, that's something that may not seem like a real meaningful deadline to you. It can affect students' financial aid again, all right? Because their grade, we roll those grades on whatever date it is, records rolls that grade, and missing grades negatively affect that student's impact, and it can affect their financial aid. We put a penalty, or at least I put a penalty on students when they turn things in late, all right? So you can have that same mindset by turning your stuff in on time, because that's what we expect our students. We expect them to do things on time. It can have an impact on their money. Hardship withdrawals. We have taken what the faculty voted on. The faculty senate put together some guidelines for hardship withdrawals. They are extenuating circumstances that require students to drop after the official drop date. Up until October 19th, they can drop those classes, okay, with a W letter grade. It is something that extenuatingly happens after that fact, that they need to be withdrawn from their classes. The information is on the website. I know it's on Dean of Students' webpage, and it's on the registrars. We're working on getting academic affairs, working with marketing to get our page updated. So several places you can get the full 2-page PDF of all the explanation put together in a format once it was decided, and then a link to the actual form. And then we have put in place this summer a new academic progression. All right, academic standing now here at Dalton State will be a warning, then probation, suspension, and dismissal. 2.0 institutional GPA is now what we're looking for. That, to me, was important because we were looking at overall, but we graduate on an institutional GPA. If you bring in a lot of transfer credit, your overall might be okay, and you not be being successful here at Dalton State. We want to catch you early. So as soon as a student's term or cumulative institutional GPA falls below a 2.0 at the end of the first semester, it's a warning. If it is such a severe drop, I think it's decided below a 1.0, they could go straight to probation. And this is just to catch them in this early. We want to be intervening. Your professional advisors in every school will be intervening with all of our students on probation and suspension levels with academic success contracts. I've worked with those before. Are they 100%? Absolutely not. They were. We'd all be graduating, all of our students. But they're not. But the hope is that students have to consider, what were the barriers? Why weren't you successful last semester? Let's see if we can put that into words so that we are really cognizant of what it was that went wrong. What are our goals moving forward? Let's start setting some of those goals. We need to be working towards something. And then what campus resources? There's a list of them on the academic contract. And what are you going to do? Who are you going to use here on this campus? You've got a lot of help. You've got advisors. You've got faculty. You've got career services. You've got tutoring. You've got disability services, counseling. I think there's almost 20 things on there. I've even got the fitness center. Sometimes just well-being. Physical well-being helps our mental well-being. What are you going to do to try to be more successful and hit that 2.0 benchmark this semester? So that's going to be happening with them, but I want you to be aware of that. It's a little confusing this semester because the people who were in the spring are under the old way we did probation, suspension 1, suspension 2, I believe is what it was called. And then we have the ones who came through the summer that are under the new realm. So it's a little muddy right now. We're handling it. If you don't, you can send them to academic affairs and we'll work through it. Hopefully by January when it rolls, everybody will be in the same system. So just wanted you to be aware of that we are trying to intervene with students who are not academically being successful. Any questions on any of those 3 things? Yeah.
So, not on that.
Okay.
Reporting students for non-attendance. Like, I've got 4 classes that meet 1 day a week. Okay, so I've got 2 of them on Monday. So if they add the class on Wednesday, do I drop them the next Monday?
I would give them, since this isn't due until Tuesday, I would try to give them till that class time on Monday, just to see, yeah.
I noticed you didn't talk about the online attendance, and Daisy did send us out the rubric checklist and tell us what to do for it.
Okay, right.
Just wondering.
Yeah, online attendance, yeah, so physically not
Right.
You're not
But
seeing
at
it.
least log in.
Right. Log in, have they completed an assignment with you? Most online, there's something to do the first week, is at least log in to the system the
Yeah.
first week. So I think that's, if you haven't seen them log in, again, we take, if they get dropped, and they do say, come back to you the next week, say, no, I really did want to come, I just hadn't done it yet, my computer broke, we can backtrack it. It's, again, it's easy, it doesn't seem like that would be easier, but it is better for the student when it has to do with their financial aid.
Yeah.
And most of our students use federal money, so we've got to follow those guidelines.
So for those online, like even hybrid, do you check like a week by week? Like some classes are unique twice a week, some
Right,
classes just once
right.
a week. So like for twice a week, you have face-to-face time and the online time?
Mhm.
So do you count both or just as long as they show up?
I would say as long as you've seen them once, then they have attended your class at that point. If they logged in or they showed up to that first class meeting, they have attended your class. At that point, they're using the federal government to come to class and they know what class they're supposed to be in.
Okay.
If they don't continue to come, different issue. But if you see that student at least once, you're not going to report them at the end of the semester for never attending your class because they did attend it at least once.
Yeah, like you have.
That's when they get in trouble, is when they get reported for never attending and they've paid for the whole class.
So you're looking at it like a full week of that first week. Now, some of the classes say they don't start until like a Wednesday. So
Right. Work with Rob. Rob sets those dates out of registration. But that's the date that he gave me that letter today that I passed on to all the faculty this morning. Again, if you don't hear from them at all in the first week before that Tuesday, and I guess if you've never met the class, I don't know, I guess you're running a risk. Maybe we can do something with them later, but he would really rather you drop them because, of, again, it's a financial aid issue that we're running into.
we have classes starting Wednesday and there's classes on Thursday. And then the reporting date is that Monday
Well,
after that.
if they don't show up on Wednesday, maybe shoot them an email saying, hey, you will be dropping this class because you didn't come today unless you let me know X, Y, Z. If they email you and say, hey, I'm out of the country, I won't be here until this date, again, that's enough reason you've had some contact and know that that student intends to attend that class, even if you haven't physically seen them. Well, I thank y'all for coming and listening. I hope that we can all work together. My office is located with Dr. Schutz. I'm the other Elizabeth in the office. If you ever need me, my business cards are up here. Please reach out. I'll be glad to help you at any time.